well, it starts. It's called the creative aspects of languages and the implication for linguistic science. So, what kind of creative aspect does language have? I would say. Start with that because we had like this. First of all, we need to define that before. What's a creative use of language? Like the one I thought of is forming new sentences usually, because there are endless. That's what you wrote, I think, here. Because there are endless amount of sentences.
Yeah.
It's just the way you form a sentence makes it creative.
Yeah, and I mean, creative in this sense means that. So the best way to understand is if you compare it to communication systems of animals. In animals, the quote-unquote words they use, like certain birds have like different calls for different types of predators. If like a leopard comes or like a fox or something, like they have one call, but if they find food, it's some other call. But those like that quote-unquote language is very connected to the environment, and it's caused by the like the utterance of the bird is caused by the like visual scene of a fox or type of food. But in human language, it's not like that at all. Like we don't need anything in the environment to cause us or to allow us to produce an utterance. So I could talk about an elephant, even though like there's no elephant here, or I can talk about like something that's impossible or like never happened or happened in the past. So it's creative in that sense. And the other word it's creative is that we can understand sentences which is never that we've never heard before, and we can produce sentences which we've never heard before. And quite often what we say is new in the history of the language, because we talk in pauses and we make new words up, and like we use verbs as nouns and nouns as verbs. It's like continuously creative, in a sense that we can make up new ways of talking about the world.
It renews itself, not renews, but it develops. Like you said, like you quoted another researcher, I don't remember which one.
Well, that's the famous Descartes in the 17th century.
Yeah,
he talks about
philosopher.
René Descartes. In the 17th century.
So you mentioned, I forgot, I lost my train of thought. So he mentioned about the creative use as
so he talked about how it's amazing how nothing in the environment causes us to talk about something, but whatever we talk about is always connected to the environment. So like, say like if we're at a zoo and there's an elephant, we can choose to talk or not talk about it. So like there's an element of human free will, and that's not the case in animals. Like if there's a predator, there's a food, it's like effectively automatic.
So that's why it's irrelevant for the theory of language.
Communication,
to the theory of communication, because I argue that whatever merits exceptionally may possess, and despite its popularity, it's unable to provide a fruitful framework for scientific theory of language.
Because one of the main debates in linguistics or in psychology and cognitive science is whether language is a communication system. But it turns out that if you define what a communication system is, then language is not that at all. So even like one of the basic features of a communication system is the transfer of information. Language can be used to do that, but it's not essentially that. Like a lot of language is like social grooming. It's like like when we say hello in the morning, like there's no exchange of information. Like if we only a very specific and small aspect of language use is actually exchange of information. And that's a main feature of communication systems in animals and just in general in computers or whatever. The other problem as well is that communication systems have a format where the speaker or like the like one node encodes a message, and it goes to the other node, and that decodes the message. So like in computers, like it gets encoded and then it gets decoded on the other side.
But the message is a language. It's computer language, but it is language.
Well, it's called a language, yeah. But what I mean is, human language is not like that. Like nothing. Not nothing, but the main feature of human language is not an encoded and decoded mechanism. Like what we know is when we talk, like what happens is, like it's called the inferential model. So instead of me decoding a message and put it into speech, and then it going into your brain and you decode it, like what happens is, people give evidence for what they mean, and then so the speakers do that, and then the hearers use that information to infer what they mean, and only one of that collection of evidence is the sentence meaning. So like you would use like your background knowledge, you would use like the context of the situation, like you would use what they used to do with their hands, their face. Like there's so much more to, you working out what I mean, than just the sentence meaning. But in a communication system, like all that stuff is not there. Especially in animals, all you have is a message, a code, which gets encoded by the speaker and then gets decoded by the hearer.
So it influenced from basically two things. It's influenced by not just the inner function, but also the structure of the environment around you, I'd say.
In the communication system, it is, but not in the case of human language. Like what? Because